Did you know that every time you're in a social situation, you're constantly comparing yourself to the people around you, and by doing so, you're forming an identity for yourself? I chose to talk about the social identity theory because humans and the way that we relate to each other really interests and fascinates me. And the way that we form identity is intriguing. In this speech, you'll learn more about your place in the social world and the psychology behind self-esteem. Hopefully you can apply what you learn in this speech and feel more confident in social encounters. Today I'll be explaining Henry Tajfel's social identity theory through social categorization, social identification, and finally social comparison. The first step is social categorization, which is the process of dividing the world into us and them by putting people in different social groups. Examples of social categories would be groups like Mom, Christian, Australian, American, student, etc. An individual can belong to many different social groups, which cumulatively creates their identity. For example, you could be a white Australian student. Everyone categorizes people. An experience I had was when I was living in Spain, and I fell into the student category that my peers were in, but I didn't fit into the Spaniard identity group because I'm an American. If you've ever had any preconceived ideas of a group that you don't belong to, you have participated in social categorization. In social categorization, you can identify the appropriate behavior norms of each group, but you would only be able to do that if you put them in a category beforehand. That's the essence of social categorization. The second step to the theory is social identification. Social identification is adopting the identity of the group that you chose to be a part of. For example, if you're a student, you'll begin to do things that students do, like studying at the library or writing papers or doing behaviors that normal students do. Or say you've got accepted in the club that you wanted to be at school. This would boost your self-esteem because you are now identifying with a group that you've wanted to belong to. I've seen myself socially identify when we moved to California. After a few months of living there, I began to adopt the identity of a California and began to do things like surfing, skating, and things that California people do. The stronger you identify with the group, the more it'll affect your self-esteem. Your self-esteem is closely linked with whether or not you feel part of a group. The final step involved in the theory is social comparison. Social comparison is determining your worth by comparing yourself to other social groups. Once you've categorized yourself as part of a group, you then tend to compare that group with the other groups to boost your self-esteem. For example, a UT student could compare themselves with an A&M student to boost their self-esteem, or if their football game won a game against A&M, UT students will feel more confident because they're in the UT category. On a more personal level, I felt proud of being on the swim team in my high school when we won a swim meet against a rival team. Social comparison is a normal part of daily life. As psychologist Hart Blanton says, we couldn't really evaluate ourselves without some form of comparison. Today I hope you learned the 3 steps of Henry Tajfel's social identity theory through social categorization, social identification, and social comparison. Thank you.